time to do the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift route, Benji. I'll just open up the cart. We do have most of the profiles, which is pretty handy.
Yes.
I've got the profile here. So they start in Brittany, in the furthest west part of France on the mainland, from Brest to Quimper, and then they work their way progressively east, which is, I don't know if that's in the Alps or in the Alsace region. It's near Germany, on the German border. I think maybe near Liechtenstein. I don't know where Liechtenstein is, I gotta be honest. Actually, no, it's not near Liechtenstein.
Switzerland?
Yeah, I think I got that wrong. It's more near Switzerland. And they have...
Or is it in Italy? I don't actually know.
No, it's not in Italy. They're German speakers, I think.
There's German Italians.
Yeah, but that's in like the Dolomites area.
Anyway, I think, yeah, you're right.
It's a gradual build up, like we've seen before. We have punchy stages. We don't have a TT, which we have seen in the Netherlands and in previous. I have liked the TTs, and Marlon Reusser will be spitting chips, as we say in Australia, that there's no time trial here for her. I don't know why there's no TT, but there isn't. And yes, they have 9 stages this year. Do they have 8?
They had 8. There's a +1 on the amount of stages, and I think that's a good thing. The gradual increasing in size, I'm okay with that, because that's probably financially the most viable for the race. You can't just switch to 21 stages immediately. So if people want longer and longer races, I'm not sure 21 stages is even a good thing, because sometimes we have men's Grand Tours that are basically finished after 10 days. So I'm okay with it being 9 days long, maybe 10 days long in the future. It doesn't need to be 21 days to be a really goddamn good race, and maybe it's a better race as a consequence of that, because right now the parkour is somewhat backloaded, but I'm going on a rant, so I'll let you continue talking.
Well, yeah, I agree. Like, okay, say the race is 21 stages this year. Okay, Vollering wins, and then we have, because she would have made the time up. Like,
yeah,
great. So I think 9 is good, especially the way they've designed this. And we assume, well, Demi Vollering. So that was interesting. We would talk about that. I feel like FDJ made a snap decision to announce Demi Vollering. She's going to FDJ Suez, the open rumor, secret. They announced it yesterday, and I thought, curious, because I thought they were waiting for the Spesh big announcement. Was it so that they could, when everyone's talking about her at the route reveal for this race, she's an FDJ Suez announced rider?
I think so. And I think it's actually a good decision to announce her before this Tour de France Femmes route announcement, as a consequence of exactly that. Because now we're talking about, okay, who's going to be stacking up at this Tour de France Femmes? Demi Vollering is going to be there for FDJ Suez, together with a team that might include Labou, that might include Evita Muzic, that will include quite a few strong riders. Ludwig is gone out of that team. Brown's retiring, so won't be part of that team. So now we're talking about FDJ Suez being that Demi Vollering team. We would have probably already spoken about it, but mainstream media might have still been talking about Demi Vollering of SD Works. So I think that's the main thing. Also, next to that, the specialized thing, to be honest, I don't care too much if Vollering's transfer is announced at the same time as Specialized going to that team. At the end of the day, I think it's pretty obvious that they're probably going to be riding on Specialized if Vollering goes to the team, you know? They're probably paying a sizable chunk of the salary.
Exactly. So it's I would say, when I first saw the graphics with Marion Rousse and Monsieur Prudhomme, when I first saw the graphics, I was a little bit like, what's this? Because
wait. I will quote Sir Lanterne Rouge, who said he said when he saw like the moving graphics of the parkour, like
which shows
the
you
route,
nothing.
like flowing, it shows you nothing, but it just looked like it lacked a lot of climbs. And I think you said, and I quote, "This route looks horrific."
Yeah, I thought it was 9 flat stages. And then I realized, I was like, hold on, but they're in the Alps, and they're going between villages. It must be. So I retracted it. I retracted that.
Officially, correct.
But because the best Grand Tour stage this year was the high mountain stage in the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift. And there was action on the Glandon. the second last climb, and that was a brutal stage. And so I was like, we do not need to start, making these stages easier. The women can handle it. The racing can be good. So I wanted, high, hard mountain stages.
Correct. Now, I am looking at this Grand Tour in a different scope because we'll go over stage by stage analysis pretty soon. But who are the GC riders going into the Tour de France 2025 when you're thinking about it? And we're thinking about Demi Vollering at FDJ Suez. We're thinking about Lotte Kopecky and perhaps Anna van der Breggen at
definitely
SD Works. And then on top of that, at the other teams, obviously, Nivea Doma still alive. We've got Niedermeyer in that same circle. We've got multiple other riders in that team. Uttrup Ludwig joining. I'm probably thinking more puncher type than GC rider. Even though she can top 10 a Tour de France Femmes. She's proven it before. She might be able to top 5 it in perfect shape. Gigante. And there's like plenty of other riders, Realini and so forth. We're looking at those as well. And the lack of time trial probably helps her, I would argue.
Yeah, true.
But when I started going individually over the stages, for example, let's start off with stage 1. We start in the Morbihan region, basically with what looks like a puncher stage to me. 79 kilometers only though, so very short in my personal opinion, but it's got hills throughout, and there's 4 categorized ones. One after 29 kilometers, that the Côte de Botsegalo, 800 meters at 5.3%. Then the Côte de Cadoudal, 1.7 kilometers, 6.2% at 51 kilometers into the race.
Oh, it's a circuit.
And that is then triple repeated because it's a circuit every 14 kilometers. So basically 28 kilometers to go, you've got that climb. 14K to go, you got that climb. And at the finish line, you've got that climb. So 3 times 1.7 kilometers at 6.2%. In my head, the shouts Lotte Kopecky.
I think it's pretty open. Pretty open. I need to see the last 300 meters of this. If it's flat, then Kopecky will win. If it's...
Do you mean GC rider versus Kopecky open?
I just mean for stage win.
Okay, because like a rider like Vos and so forth could compete.
Yeah. I was on Ludwig, Vos, Lippert. I still think I need, again, if the last 300 meters are flat, Kopecky should win. I think it's too hard for Wiebes. They should go for Kopecky, especially if she's going for GC. The bonies matter. They will matter. So I don't think Vollering is a pannekuchen, though, on these sort of uphill finishes either, though, Benji.
Yeah, but she shouldn't be in the top 3 on paper if all those other riders arrive at the foot of the climb, in my opinion.
I think it's pretty balanced. I think it's pretty balanced.
Okay, fair. Because I see this stage as Kopecky takes bonus seconds of Vollering.
Yes, she should. But for Vollering to come in the top 3, I would not be surprised. Now, the riders like Riolini, not good for her. Evita Muzic, punchless, not good for her. Gigante. Yeah, riders could get put on a gap here. Ferron Provo, we didn't mention. I think she's like... I have no idea.
No idea what to expect.
But punchy-wise, I think she was pretty good when she rode on the road before. Lisa Longoborghini, not bad. So, interesting stage, and the yellow jersey up for grabs. So, okay, stage 2, very, very similar from Brest to Quimper. It's another hilly stage. We've got climbs of 3 kilometers at 6%. There's a 800 meter 9% climb. The final is 2 climbs, 1.1 Ks at 5.7%, which is about 4 Ks from the finish, and then an uncategorized climb, which I think is a bit easier. I'm gonna say it's like a K at 5%, more or less. This, it's 500 meters shorter. Now we're talking, if it's now 4%, now we're looking at Lorena Wiebes.
Ooh, it's difficult because what is your goal if you're SD Works going into this race? That's again the question, eh?
Yeah,
is your goal to have Kopecky go for a GC bid, which, looking at the rest of the parcours, might actually be possible?
I think
considering she's been climbing very well in 2024? Then you'd want to take bonus seconds on a parcours like this. But then Wiebes exists who wants to take the green jersey. And if Wiebes doesn't go for the stage, then Vos might take a gap on her in the green jersey classification.
Exactly.
Solution? Solution. SD works, do what the Belgian national team did at the European Championships, line up 2 sprint trains next to each other and fight it out. It's already in your genes anyway.
I'm going to give you another option for this stage. I don't think the GC group wins this at all. I think SD Works are going to say not our responsibility, especially if they are not in yellow. And this can very well be a breakaway stage for a Justine Hakira type operator or a Yara Castelline. This really can be a breakaway stage, and with the yellow jersey up for grabs, that's the only reason why it might not be. But wait, who went into yellow after stage 2 of the tour this year? Did Vauquelin go into yellow?
Had it on day 1?
No, I mean in the men's. Because the break won 2 days in a row. Bardet, and then... Am I stupid?
Vauquelin did not go into yellow, that's for sure.
He didn't, but then how did he lose 2 years?
No, Carapaz did it in the sprint afterwards, no?
Poggi went in. But
yeah, Poggi went in, and then the next stage was a sprint stage where Carapaz took positions on Pogacar and therefore took the yellow jersey, no?
But how did... Oh, yeah, anyway. The... breakaway has a good chance here. Stage 3, Benji.
Yes, stage 3, we've got the sprint stages starting. We start in La Gacilly and we go to Angers, 162 kilometers. So I reckon this might be the longest stage of this Tour de France Femmes, but I haven't actually checked the length of the rest of the stages, but it is pretty long. When looking at the last 5 kilometers, it's like 2 bumps. First one with about 5k to go, and then another bump in the last 3 kilometers towards the finish line. So it's very possible that this is slightly uphill, but should not be a problem for Lorena Wiebes. Charlotte Kool, on paper, not either, I would say. Yeah. So this is the big sprint between the two. The first one of this race, I would say, because Kool will not be making the finish on the first 2 stages with the front riders on paper. But yeah, sprints are starting here. This is where Wiebes should take points on the other green jersey competitors that might be more versatile, and I'll throw it to you for stage 4, which looks pretty similar to me.
Yeah, it's 40k shorter, 128k's from Saumur to Poitiers. Saumur. And yeah, it's a sprint stage. It's I think a slight false flat uphill drag, so it is a bit of a, but that's, again, for Elisa Balsamo, Lorena Wiebes, that's Marianne Vos, that's absolutely no problem. So it's a sprint stage. And it's in the middle of the country. I don't know if there could be wind. Probably not. So on to stage 5, Benji.
Étape 5 commence à Chasseneuil-du-Poitou et finit à Guéret, 166 kilometers. And it's basically, for the first 130 kilometers, relatively flat. And then in the last 35 kilometers, we've got 3 categorized climbs. 1.4 kilometers at 5.2%, followed by 3.3 kilometers at 4.3%. Gradients on this shit, not very steep. And then the final climb is 2.8 kilometers at 5.4%, which lies in the last 8, 9, 10 kilometers, roughly. So you've got a descent and a flat segment of, if I had to guess, 4 kilometers, 3 kilometers to finish in Guéret. Looking at this, I'm sorry, but 2.8 kilometers, 5.4%, it's not deadly steep either, you know? But who can use that to do something with it?
Kopecky can attack, yeah.
If you're Visma, you also want to try and make that hard, you know? To drop Wiebes potentially, but that won't be easy on 2.8 kilometers, 5.4%.
True. For Vos in the finish, and drop Balsamo. Certainly you can drop Charlotte Kool there, but it is a long stage. This is going to be very impactful for the green jersey, this stage, because this can still be a maximum point stage because it's a flat finish and it's mostly a flat stage. Certainly the breakaway can win too.
This is the longest stage, 166 kilometers.
Yeah,
so
it's a long
more
stage.
Than the last I declared as the longest stage in its Tour de France Femmes. Breakaway possible, you're not wrong, but
yeah,
there's only 2 on paper opportunities for sprints in this race for pure sprinters. I'm sorry, but they're going to try and go all out to make it happen.
Oh, this is the third.
Is it the third?
Yeah.
Is my math off? You're right.
3-4 are pure sprints. Yeah. This is a versatile sprint.
I can't count them, sorry.
And stage 6 from Clermont-Ferrand, where Remy Cavagna is from, to Ambert, 124 k's long. Now, this really looks like a breakaway stage for Ricardo Bauernfeind. Hikera, yeah, this really looks like a breakaway stage. 56 k's of flat before the Col du Béal. 10.2 k's. Yeah. And just some descents here, so maybe Cedrine is a descent finish. 10 k's, 5.6%, then 6 k's up the Col du Chancer. 6 k's, 5.5%, so nothing too savage. Then another descent before the Côte de Valsevière, which is 4.5 k's, 5%, a little plateau, and then a descent to the finish. Maybe Cedrine goes for a run here, but it really looks like someone will. I think the breakaway has a good chance actually for strong climb. I mean, maybe Benji. If you're Little Trek, for example, you got Nee Fisher Black, you got Rihanna Marcus, and who else are their GC riders they've signed? Those two?
Yes.
This is where they got to try something, right? To use
then
numbers against
Kopecky.
Yeah, true. Rialini on the descent.
You're about to drop Rialini in this descent.
Yeah. It's tricky.
I think it's tricky. Also, Movistar now. Reusser joining Movistar. Is she breakaway rider? Is she GC rider?
Kat Ferguson can't they just control this for her to win a small sprint? Or she can go on the breakaway?
I'm not sure this is like super controllable by one team either. Breakaway, I see this as breakaway opportunity.
Yeah, I think so.
To be honest. I don't see GC teams seeing the stage and saying, I can take a minute on here. So I don't expect GC teams to control for a stage win either necessarily. So stage 7. Stage 7 is a mountain stage from Bourg-en-Bresse to Chambéry. First 105 kilometers is flat. And then after that, we start climbing. 3 categorized climbs, but this is stupid. The first one is 3.8 kilometers, 6.9%. And then you've basically got the Col du Granier climb, which is only categorized for 8.9 kilometers at 5.4%, but there's like a proper bump of like 10 kilometers before that. And for some reason, the first 1.2 kilometers of that is a categorized climb, the Côte de Berlin. So that's the middle climb for some reason, but I'd say it's only 2 actual climbs on this parkour if my eyes are not deceiving me. But basically, that Col du Granier is the big obstacle, 8.9 kilometers, 5.4%, topping with 18 kilometers to go, and then 18 kilometers of descending. We gave a massive clap for the men's Tour de France, not including descent finishes, and then I look at this and I see, well, first of all, I see Cedrine Kerbal winning the stage. I'm sorry about the last stage. We're putting it in this one, because it's a descent to the finish of 18 kilometers.
Yeah.
But why don't they just finish on top of this bloody climb?
I don't mind it. I as long as it's a decent road, etc. to Chambéry. Yeah. The reason is because Chambéry pays for the finish.
Technically not once, because the other stage was also a descent finish.
But this is a problem for Rialini, for Gigante, for Burnell, for the really lightweight riders or the ones who struggle on the descents. They will lose time if the GC riders push it. So, I think the descent's going to be more impactful than the climb.
Who was the French rider that kept attacking in the Tour de France Femmes this year before the GC riders did? Was it also from Ceratizid? I'm not sure.
Maeve Squibon from Arkea. Yes. She moved teams as well.
Arkea. Where's she going again?
Someone gave her a decent contract.
I think so, but I don't remember where.
I swear she's leaving.
I think it's not official yet.
Oh. Anyway, she's pretty good.
She's going somewhere. But you can tell us all about what looks like the potential Queen stage.
Stage 812 k's from Chambéry to the Col de la Madeleine finish. This is a proper high mountain finish. It opens with a 13k climb. Out of neutral, they do the Col du Plein Palais, 13.2k, 6%. So the bunch will be, in terms of OTL, Benji, like, if Wiebes shouldn't have an issue, but Charlotte Cole, if she's somehow in green, she's going to have big problems here because that's a proper climb to start.
Cole abandons before the mountain start anyway, usually.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Then it's rolling plain with some hills around there, so they can be more impactful. Like, especially when it's not like in the men's tour where there's 8 riders on each team. The super teams have these crazy strong rouleurs. Stuff can happen in these valleys, in these hills in women's cycling, which is why it's sometimes so entertaining to watch. And then 18.5 Ks, 8% is the Col de la Madeleine to 2,000 meters. It is indeed the highest point of the race, but it's not a Unipuerto. It's actually quite a hard stage before. It's quite short, very long climb, very long and hard climb. So
Yeah.
there will be huge gaps here. I think for Rigolini, Gigante, Julie Begot, for those type of riders, they must be very, very happy at this stage design.
Following as well, to be honest.
Yep.
And
she
also,
just goes.
Based on the 2024 season, FDJ Suisse is also the kind of team where they do make a train for their leader. Evita Music at La Vuelta Femenina, for example. So I wouldn't be surprised if on these mountain stages, even if we're talking about the previous mountain stages that are not 100% GC stages where you can make major gaps, that they still put pressure the entire climb to get the best possible results for Vollering, where you might put someone in trouble that you don't expect to put in trouble on a stage like that. And on this stage, they will definitely do that, in my opinion. But also, the climb at the start of the stage, I like it for potential hard-to-control breakaways to show up.
Yep. I think that's going to be the interesting part of the stage, although it won't be televised, so that's the problem. Like, the break formation. So, yeah, we'll probably be refreshing PCS to see there's a group of 20 up the road mounting a GC raid. And that, gone. But yeah, who do you? So it's good for Vollering Benji because she just basically gets to open the tank on one climb. So she doesn't have to think about anything.
Yes, but also she should have a team that is actually working for her an entire climb with a proper lead out now.
Yeah,
so
true.
I would love to see that on this climb happening, to see where that leads. Stage 9, we've got a stage 9 this year from Pras-sur-Arly to Châtel-les-Ports-du-Soleil. It is 124 kilometers, and when you look at this parkour, you're like, what is this stupid-ass fucking breakaway design?
I think
but then you look at the
good.
details, and the bumps in the road are actually proper climbs.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got 3 categorized climbs. You've got one third into the stage, which is Côte d'Arrache-la-Face, 6.2 kilometers, 7.1%. You've got a climb or a bump in the road halfway through the stage that is called Col de Juplain. We know that one already. That's where Podin won in the Dauphiné and where Vingegaard and Pogacar were fighting in the 2023 Tour de France. That is 11.6 kilometers, 8.5%. This tops with about roughly 54 kilometers to go and has a small plateau on top. So that might play a bit of a role. Then a descent to the Col du Corbier, 5.9 kilometers, 8.5%. Not long, but steep. So could also still play a role. And then a gradual uphill falls flat to the finish line. Honestly, after the descent of the Corbier, there's still like 25 kilometers left of slightly uphill falls flat to the finish line, which that's weird, but that forces GC riders to think further than, okay, we can finish it in the last 20 kilometers. That makes them think, can we open it up earlier? Do you think there's going to be riders that are willing to open it up on the Col de Juplain instead of the Col du Corbier?
They have to. So too. Because there's going to be destruction on the Madeleine the day before. So if you want to improve your GC position, I mean, Col du Corbier is hard. Like 6K is 8.5%. For women's cycling, there can be big differences on a climb that steep. Yeah. So, that's a 20-minute climb. So I think it's quite an interesting stage. If FDJ is super strong, they can kind of lock it down. That's the problem. If Vollering's the best and they have the strongest team, they can lock it down. But yeah,
is there some thought process that might lead FDJ to try to keep Musichor-Labou in GC just in case to have a second rider here to send up the road on this parkour to play the game a little bit?
I think one of those two will be in the top 7 just by default, even after doing the Madeleine lead out.
For first French rider in GC as well.
Yeah, so I think they will have one of them in GC. Actually, having looked at this route and now seeing this stage, because like Kopeck's going to get dropped on the Madeleine, right?
Yeah, on paper, yes.
So say she's accumulated some bonies in the previous stages. That's not. She should be behind going into stage 9.
Yeah.
Like, how does this is not the best, is it for her? I mean, or is it? Because then the group gets thinned out and then it's like a classic sort of last hour. The problem as well for me is that SD Works not that strong in terms of depth. Like Van der Breggen will have to be really on top form for them to be throwing 2 riders or like rolling numbers. Because they got rid of Niamh Fisher Black.
Yeah, but I agree. But if Anna van der Breggen is on point, then they have 2 GC riders, and that would completely turn the stage into a game of chess for them.
Yes. Then you can play numbers, and it can really. But that's why Van der Breggen's shape will be key, because on her own, I don't see Kopecky how she can beat Vollering. I think this is a really good stage also for Canyon SRAM, because they have Nuvia Doma, they have Neve Bradbury, they have Niedermeyer, they have Bauernfeind. So they also should have 3 in a group of 10, let's say, going into the base of the Col du Corbière where they can try something. But in theory, if Vollering's the strongest rider and is in yellow after Madeleine, then in theory, Music Lebu should be able to lock this down.
Especially because on Madeleine, she should properly be in yellow.
Yeah. Like she should take a real gap.
Especially if she has a team to properly lead her out.
Exactly, to help her get the initial separation, then she can go to TT mode. But things change, like maybe Brunel improves. I doubt she'll be with Vollering.
Maybe Kopecky focuses on becoming an even better climber.
Exactly. Maybe Kopecky is like, I have GC leadership now, and she does with that focus, and she's so...
Do you see a world where Anna van der Breggen claims GC leadership over Kopecky for this race?
Like on the road or on the bus before?
On the bus before?
Yes, I see that. Of course. But on the road... Man. They should go with 2.
Yeah.
Because FDJ, I mean, they got Shabby, Music, Lebu, Vollering. It's ridiculous. Like, they could have 4 in the group of 7 before the last climb here. So, maybe FDJ tell the Vollering. So maybe, what if Vollering's a minute ahead of... Say, FDJ are a minute... They got Vollering a minute ahead of Kopecky and Lebu and Music, and then you come to stage 9. Kopecky's isolated. You should have Music attack, and she can, and Kopecky has to chase. But then Music might win GC. So impressions. I like the route. I like the route. I mean, but I do think there should be a time trial. Just sort of on principle. If it's going to be a Grand Tour, you cannot have no time trial. I do think. Yeah, we had too many sprint stages this year, so I'm fine that they revert back to 2 pure sprint stages. Got some punchy. I think I like that there's some more punchy stages for Lippert and Ludwig type operators. I think the mountains are. Yep. I would have liked to have seen again a mountain stage with 2 HC climbs, because they've been really good when they've had that. But I guess stage 9 could still deliver action. So I like the route. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 as well.
I'm going to go with 8.1.
8.1, even better.
Yeah. But I'm also just generally very hyped for the season next year when it comes to women's cycling, because of all the transfers, because of the reshuffling of the teams, the reshuffling of the top riders. And I feel like there's a bit of a redistribution of talent that happened in the off season. Now, has it been over redistributed to FDJ Suez? I guess we'll find out next season.
Well, that's like, in theory, on paper, they should be dominant. In theory, Demi should clean up by the Waspakila, because like she still was way stronger than Nuvia Doma on, but she didn't drop Royackers. So parity in the climbing can happen very quickly. Things are changing. It's because we haven't seen it yet.
But also,
it's exciting
because lead out properly.
Exactly. So, but we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen them dominate yet. So when it happens for the first time, it will be entertaining at least. So I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, I think it's a balanced route. The best GC rider should win. Although it does favor the really pure climbers, which we don't really have in men's cycling in the GC contenders anymore. The pure climbers, I think this is a really good route for them. No TT, and the descent finish should be able to hang on there. Okay, that's our Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift route reveal reaction. We also did the men's Tour de France. It's a separate YouTube video. I haven't listened there. Hope you enjoyed it. I don't know when the Giro's announced, Benji, but we'll be doing that as well. That's coming up soon. And until then, ciao.